Hey everyone, this is Janine from Doomsday Crochet, and this is the rainbow hat tutorial. First thing we have to do is warm up so we don't strain ourselves. Make sure I'm doing it right, Fuzzy. You don't care. Okay, now we're ready to begin crocheting the hat. And by the way, it is a lighter hat, so it's good for spring or for winter days without a lot of wind. So we're going to need to gather some supplies, and I chose 6 different colors that seem to go together pretty well for this hat. But we're going to be making a total of 12 color sections. So you can choose any colors in multiples of 2, 3, 4, 6, or 12. If you want to use the same colors as me, I used worsted weight yarn from Bernat and from Red Heart. And starting from left to right, we have Berry by Bernat, then the orange is Pumpkin by Red Heart, the yellow is called Bright Yellow by Bernat, and then Spring Green by Red Heart, Blue by Red Heart, and Light Damson by Bernat. That's the purple. So you're going to need some supplies. In addition to the yarn, you're going to need a darning needle, so one of these to help you weave in the ends. You're going to need a crochet hook. For this project, if you're making an adult hat, I recommend using a J hook. If you have a hard time crocheting loosely, because you will need to crochet relatively loosely, not real ridiculous, but if you have a hard time with that, I'd suggest going up to a K hook. If you'd like to make a smaller hat for a teenager, maybe an older child, I recommend an I hook. And then if you want to make this hat for a child that's younger, maybe 3 to 6 years old, somewhere in there, I'd recommend using an H hook. To start this hat, we're going to be using a magic circle. So I'm going to start off with the berry colored yarn from Bernat, and I want to take it and wrap it around like this and leave a bit of a tail right here. Now I always hold my yarn with my pinky finger. You can do whatever's comfortable for you. Now I'm going to take my crochet hook. I'm going to go under both strands, pull the second strand under the first, and then I'm going to grab some more yarn and pull it under. And I'm going to do that again 2 more times for a chain 2. And if you have to use your index finger like I do, that's fine. Okay, I'm going to do it 1 more time here. Oh geez. Okay, so now we have our magic circle with a chain 2 attached. Now I'm going to do 14 double crochets. First I have to wrap the yarn around, go underneath, grab the yarn again, do a double crochet like you normally would. It's a little more challenging than a normal double crochet. Now I'm going to go under again, do another double crochet. And we're going to keep doing this 12 more times. So when you have those 12 completed, I will rejoin you and we'll continue with this hat. And I'll show you how to change colors over to the pumpkin color. Alright, now we have quite a few stitches on here. I've got 13, so I just need to make 1 more double crochet. Okay, so now we have these 14 double crochet plus the chain 2 at the beginning, and we're just going to grab this tail and pull it closed. So now we have a nice little round circle, and then what we need to do is put the crochet hook into the top of the first double crochet, and we're going to do a slip stitch and close this circle. Alright, so now the circle is closed, and we need to switch over to the pumpkin color, which is in the background. Okay, so the little loop, we're just going to keep pulling on it. Pull more of the yarn through so that we have a decent little tail. And then we're going to cut this color off. So I like to leave about this much space. I would say as long as you're leaving about 4 to 5 inches, somewhere in there, you should be okay. Because I'm going to immediately weave this end into the red. So we don't have to weave in so many ends at the end of the piece. So I'm going to cut it about here. Alright, I removed the yarn and we are left with this long tail here. This is where the darning needle comes in. I'm going to put this through the opening. And I'm going to skip the one that we just did, and I'm going to skip another stitch. I'm going to go into this stitch here. I'm going to put the needle underneath that stitch. Now, I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to put the needle into the top of the stitch where the yarn is coming from. And then I'm going to put it into this one, and then I like to also put it into that one right here. Okay, so this brings it around and makes it look like a nice stitch at the top, so it blends in. And now if you pull this tight, and try to get a good view here, you can see that the top of it blends in a lot better now. It looks pretty normal. Other than the fact that you're going to have, it's going to look like there's two of them on top of each other right here. But this is okay because when we go back over it, we crochet over top of that, you can get rid of that. It'll blend in very nicely. And at the back now I'm just going to weave the end in. So I'll take it, and put it in here maybe. You have a lot of options, whatever you think is going to hide this the best. I'm just going to go like this. Be careful not to pull it too tight up there. Just want it to look like a normal stitch, just like all the other ones. And then I'm going to go back once to help secure this yarn. And then I'm going to go back again. Because you can't pull the yarn out if it is going 3 ways. It's not going to pull out. It's going to stay securely in place. Okay, so I didn't pull any of this too tight because I still want to have some leeway. I want this to look as natural as possible when I get done. Now I'm just going to clip the end off. And there you go. We wove the end in. And it still looks like a nice little circle. Now we're going to switch to the orange color. So what I like to do is make a slip stitch. And this is how I do it. I just I go like this, I make a loop. I put the yarn in front and I pull it through the other side to make a loop. Some people have their way of doing it. This is how I like to do mine. And I leave a little bit of a tail at the end for weaving in the end later. Another thing you can do is just crochet the end in as you go along. That's perfectly fine too. And I'm going to put my hook in. And I'm going to take this piece that we're working on, want the good side facing us, and I'm just going to put this into one of the loops. It really doesn't matter which one. I just flop the tail over behind out of my way, and now I'm going to pull this through and do a sort of standing double crochet. So I'm going to pull some more yarn through and pull more yarn through. And then I'm just going to do another double crochet into the same stitch. And I'm going to do 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way around. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So keep doing this all the way around, and I will meet you back here at the end of this round. I want to show you when you come upon the stitch where you had finished off last row, you want to go underneath both of the stitches when you're doing your double crochets. So for both double crochets, you wrap the yarn, okay, you go underneath both of those stitches to do your double crochets like this. Okay, I'm just going to do it again, go underneath both. And so now you've hidden that stitch from the first row where we'd finished off the yarn. Okay, so continue doing your double crochets. Now we are at the end of this round. So, just like last time, we're going to find the first stitch. We don't have a chain 2 to deal with this time, so we're just going to take the first, at the top of the first, the standing double crochet that we had done, and then we're going to slip stitch Alright, so there's our second row. Just like last time, I'm going to pull some yarn out, about 4 to 5 inches, cut it so that we have a tail. And we're going to weave that tail in. So we're going to take the yarn, and I'm just going to make this loop a little bit bigger here because I pulled it a little too tight. I'm going to take it, skip over this stitch, and I'm going to go into the next one underneath with the darning needle. Oh geez, go around the back, and then I'm going to turn it around, take the yarn, put it back in through the top of the stitch where the yarn is coming from, work it over into this stitch, and then work it over into the top of this stitch. So I'm going to pull it down through, and there you have it. We're going to weave this end in the back of the piece like this. We're going 3 directions, just like last time. So it's highly unlikely this piece will be pulled apart. And now we'll cut the string, cut the yarn, and there we have it. And once again, when you go to the yellow and you're working over top of this, you're just going to take the crochet hook underneath both of these stitches, and that will hide what you did. So with this one, it's already secured by a slip knot, so it's not going to unravel very easily anyways. All you need to do is just guide it down through here with your darning needle. Or you can crochet over it like I didn't do, and then you don't even have to do this. So you can just take it through here, and that's it. You've hidden it, and you just clip the rest off, and you're good to go. Now it's time to start the yellow color. So just like last time, I'm going to make a slip knot. Leave a little tail here. Put it on my hook. And I'm going to attach this so the right side of the work facing. So we're doing something new with this row. We're going to do a different pattern. So instead of just doing 2 double crochet for every stitch, what we're going to do instead is make clusters of 4 double crochet every other stitch. So I'm going to join this yarn. Using standing double crochet here of sorts. Okay, so I did that. Now I'm going to add 3 more double crochet to the same stitch that we're in. So there's 2 in total, 3 in total, and 4 in total. Okay, now we're going to skip a stitch and put 4 into the next one. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, we're skipping the next stitch and putting 4 into the one after that. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So just do this all the way around and I'll meet you back here at the end of the round and show you how to join it. And now we've gone from 14 stitches to 28, now to 56. So when you count, you should have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, 44, 48, 52, 56. And now we're going to join this last stitch here to the top of our first standing crochet. So we want to go here and just make sure you get both of those loops, and then we're going to join it with a slip stitch. And we'll on this color like we have been doing, but if you still haven't got the hang of it, I'll just go over it here with you one more time. Leaving a tail about 4 or 5 inches long, cutting this off. Okay, so we are skipping this stitch, and we're going into the next one. You know, sometimes when you're doing this, you might be afraid that you're going too far, but then it works out. When I first started doing it this way, it made me a little bit nervous. Alright, so we're going to turn this around now. I like to pull this a little tight, just a little bit, not too tight. Put the yarn down into the stitch that it originally came from. Go over like this. And then get this loop here. Okay? I'm going to pull it through and make it look nice and neat. Match the neighbors. And then just weave the end in like we've been doing. When I get to these rows, I start to go up a little further when I'm weaving my ends in. Ooh, looks like it's going to fall off. Okay. And just remember not to pull it too tight. Okay, we're going to do it one more time. Of course, at this point, if you're tail gets a little bit short, then it can easily fall off the darning needle, but no big deal, just pop it back on. I always like to look at the front and just make sure I'm not crunching up the stitches with weaving that end in. And then once that looks good, just clip the end off. You're good to go. So now we have a nice little sunburst pattern going on here. And I'm going to start doing the green next. It's going to be the row that starts our posts. So we're going to be still working 4 double crochet. But then we're going to add a post here between the 4 double crochet sections of the previous row. Okay, now we're going to be starting with green. As usual, just like we started the other rows with, we're going to do a slip knot to start this row. And what we want to do is come into one of these sections of 4 double crochets, these clusters. We want to come into the middle. So right here, in this cluster of 4, we're going to come into between the 4 stitches right in the middle and do the first stitch like we've been doing. Alright, so we got our first one in. We're going to do 3 more double crochet in that same space. So that's number 2, number 3, and number 4 in total for that cluster. Now we're going to add the post in between the clusters of 4 stitches. So we're going to put 1 right here between this cluster of 4 and this next cluster of 4. So 1 double crochet. When we go to the blue color, we will do a front post double crochet over this single stitch. Now we're going to go in between the next cluster of 4 double crochets, and in the middle here we want to add 4 double crochet. So we're going to be doing this all the way around. 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to add 1 single double crochet between this cluster of 4 and this next cluster of 4. And just repeat that pattern all the way around. So 4 double crochet goes into the middle of this next cluster of 4, and then 1 double crochet into the middle between the 2 4 clusters, 4 double crochet into the middle, and just keep doing that all the way around. I'll meet you back here at the beginning and we'll finish this row. Okay, I have 1 more double crochet that's standing alone to do in this row. Alright, and again, we're going to find the first stitch that we did at the beginning of this row. And we're going to do a slip stitch to finish off this round. So we have now finished 4 rounds of this hat, and it's getting even more colorful. And I just love to be at this point in the hat and see all these colors coming together. So we're going to leave a tail. And cut this, and we're going to finish this row off by weaving in the end, just like we've been doing. Now I'm going to be starting blue the same way I started all of the other rows. I'm going to make a slip stitch. Being careful not to pull the slip stitch too tight. And then start in the middle of one of these 4 clusters with the good side of the work facing you. And pull this through. And there we go, there's our first stitch. Just like last time, we want to put 3 more stitches into this same space that we're working in. Okay, so there's stitch number 4. And now instead of last time where we just worked a double crochet here, we're going to do a front post double crochet. But we're not going to work it down here like you normally do. We're going to keep it towards the top so that it keeps this work looking more uniform as we go along. So what I'm going to do is just underneath the top is where I'm going to work this post in. And now I'm going to do 4 double crochet into the next cluster of the green row. Row 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll show you how to do that front post double crochet again because it is a little bit different than a normal front post double crochet. So we're going to wrap the yarn, go into the top here, and finish our double crochet. And again, we're just going to keep doing this around the whole piece. So just keep doing that all the way around, and I'll meet you back here so that we can finish this off. We're coming up to the end of the row. I just have one more front post double crochet to work in. And then just like we have been doing, I'm finding the first stitch of the round and I'm joining what I'm doing here with a slip stitch and then weaving in this end. Now you're just going to keep doing this same pattern for every row until you've finished row 10, which will end with green. So once you get to row 10, you've finished green, and we're ready to start row 11, that's when you want to stop and meet back up with me. So once we're done with the band of the hat, which is going to take 3 rows of blue to do, then I will show you how to do the brim in purple. Okay, now we're ready to start on the band of the hat. So your hat should look like this. You should be past the green row, and now we're starting on the blue. So just like we did with the other color start, when we changed colors, we're going to make a slip knot with the blue. Pull it tight, but not too tight. And then you can start anywhere. What I like to do is start at the beginning of one of these clusters here, and I just put it in. I want to make a standing single crochet because we're going to be working single crochets along the whole band. So on this first row, our goal is to cinch this wide opening down a little bit. So we're going to be getting rid of 1 out of 4 stitches. So we did our first single crochet, we're going to do 2 more for 3 total. So there's number 2, there's number 3, and now we're going to single crochet 2 together, and this is how I like to do it. I put my yarn, or put my hook in the front loop of the 2 top ones, so you don't want to do this, you just want to put it in the first one. And then I come around and I go to the next stitch and put it in the first one. So that it's as if you have 1 whole stitch on your hook when you have actually a part of 2 stitches on your hook. So now we're going to do the single crochet like we usually would. And we've single crocheted 2 together. Now we're going to keep up with this pattern all the way around the band. So we're going to do 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and we're going to single crochet 2 together. Once again, grab the first section of the first stitch, grab the first section of the second stitch, and then single crochet. And you have single crocheted 2 together. Now do this all the way around the band, and when you get back to the beginning of the round, I'll meet back up with you again and let you know what we're going to do from there. So I'm nearing the end of the first row in the band. I'm going to single crochet these two together. And now I want to find the first stitch in this row and join together with a slip stitch. We have to do 2 more rows in this band. We're going to do back post single crochet for 2 rows. So first, let's chain 1. Then we have to go into the post of this stitch. So right here, you're going to take the hook, go behind, grab the post, and single crochet. We're going to do that again. This time, we're going to grab this post. Try and make sure my camera's focusing properly. So we're going to grab this one by going behind, coming up in front of it, going behind, and single crocheting. So just keep doing the back post single crochet all the way around the band, and at the end of this row I'll come back and show you how we finish this up. We're now nearing the end of this row. I only have a couple more back post single crochets to do. So just make sure you get the one right before this slip stitch we did in the previous row. Now we're going to make a slip stitch with the first back post single crochet. And we have finished this row, and now you can see that the band is starting to look almost knit-like in appearance. So we're going to do this one more time. One more row of back post single crochet, again beginning with a chain 1, and still going around grabbing those back posts. So just keep doing this all the way around the band of the hat one more time, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of this row. Now we're at the end of the row, and just remember to get the post before the slip stitch and the chain 1 that we did at the beginning of the row. And again, find that first stitch and join with a slip stitch to end this row. We're all done with the blue now, so I'm going to pull this out, leaving 4 to 5 inches as usual, cut the yarn, and then weave the ends in. So when you've got that completed, meet me back here and we'll start on the purple brim. Now your hat should be nice and cinched up. You've got the larger section here, and then it goes down. The band is slightly smaller, tighter than the rest of the hat, so it'll stay on the head. Now we're going to start the brim of the hat. So wherever you'd fastened off, find that. Found it. So now we're going to count 22 stitches going clockwise around the band of the hat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And here is where we're going to start the brim. So I already have a slip stitch in this purple yarn, so I'm going to just stick my crochet hook in there and join this to the 22nd stitch that I had counted to. Now I'm just going to join the yarn to the hat with a slip stitch. And we're going to make the first row of the brim. I like to pull this a little tiny bit tighter. So in the next stitch, let's do 2 single crochet. And then in the next one, let's do 1 single crochet, and in the next one, do another single crochet. Now we're going to repeat this pattern and put 2 single crochet in the next stitch. And then in the next one, a single crochet, and in the next one, another single crochet. So we're going to do this pattern of 2 single crochet, then 1 single crochet and another single crochet, and we'll repeat that 3 times. So we'll do 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, single crochet, 2 single crochet, and then 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. And 2 single crochet in that stitch, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and now this last stitch we're going to do 2 single crochet, and then we'll slip stitch into the next stitch, and that's the end of this first row of the band. So here's the first row, and we're just going to expand on that by turning the hat, and now we'll do a chain 1. So not working anything into the slip stitch that we just made. We're going to do 2 single crochet into the first stitch, not the slip stitch. Alright. Now we're just going to put a single crochet all the way across the band, so when you get to the end, meet me back here and we'll continue. We're now at the end of the row. I'm going to skip over this slip stitch that's right here and do a single crochet into the next stitch of the band. Then I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch of the band and just pull this a little tighter, and then returning and starting on the next row. And these turns can be a little awkward here. Again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to chain 1, tighten it up just a tad, and I'm going to do 2 single crochet into the first stitch at the start of this row. So that's our increase. I'm going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across this row of the brim, and then when I get back down here, I will show you what we're going to do at the end of this row. At the end of this row, again, skip the slip stitch, it's right down here, work a single crochet into the next stitch of the band, and then slip stitch into the next stitch of the band. And then we're going to just tighten this up a little bit, because you don't want to make things like that, you know, this is a little bit too big for me, so that's why you want to tighten this up just a little bit here. I'm going to turn it. This is going to be the last row of the brim, and then this hat is done. So one more time, let's chain 1, two single crochet into the first stitch, because we skipped over that slip stitch once again. Do a single crochet in each stitch all the way across the brim, and we get to the end. I'll show you how to finish this up. Alright, we're now at the end of the hat. All we had to do is join the brim to the band at the end. You can see here's where my tail is, where I started working on the brim. Don't do a single crochet in this stitch like we have been doing at the ends of the rows, because we want this end to look as much like this end as possible. So skip over the slip stitch. In the next stitch of the band, just do a slip stitch here. And that's it. So just pull this a little tighter, and then leave about 4 or 5 inches or so, and just cut the yarn and weave in your ends like usual. And you've got yourself a rainbow hat. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I really hope you enjoy your new rainbow hat.